I'm Tony with RcHelpDotCom, and today we're going to continue on with the Goblin 380 build. Now the first video was the unboxing. The second video was putting the frame together as well as putting the top plate together and capturing that main shaft along with the main gear and the tail gear. The third video was putting this head together, completely tearing it apart, double checking everything, cleaning all the oil off them bolts, and then putting it all back together and getting it on the helicopter, including the swash plate. The fourth video in it was putting together this tail section right here. And finally, today, we're going to add some color because we're taking all of that and we're putting it all together with the tail boom. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive up close. And I'll even show you a few little tricks to kind of keep you from banging your head against the wall when those sticky pads stick to the wrong place. Alright guys, so we're starting out on page 22, we're going to go to page 23, and then we're going to come over here because this is where we put the tail boom onto the frame, as well as showing you which way to twist that belt. So this video in theory should be pretty short, but there's some things like putting these pads in here that can be a little daunting. So guys, for this step right here, what we're going to need is bag 12 out of box number 3, which is this right here, and by the way, this comes out of box number 3. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Now that I got everything out of the bag, as you see, we have a plastic nut. The plastic nut is going to go in here, and whenever you put this together, this is supposed to have CA. If you've watched any of the other videos, you know that I'm out of CA right now. So what we're going to do is just push it together. That is a really tight fit, so it's going to stay on there. Take you a little bit of alcohol, clean off this surface, because the next thing we do is stick this onto there. And that's as simple as pulling the backing off. Yeah, simple, right? And then just taking these two pieces and lining up the hole, pressing it down, and there you go. Now remember when I said I was going to show you a little trick? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do with this bag right here. But we can use this bolt to help line this up when we put it here on the tail. So now what we're going to do is a little dry fit. The first thing you want to do is take that bolt, put it down in the hole. Now you want to take this, slide it up in there, and just kind of hold it just like that. Then go ahead and bring it up, and that's going to secure it to this tail boom. Now because I kind of sort of need to see what's going on, I'm going to go ahead and do it exactly like I just showed you, and then we're going to move on to these back pieces. So as you guys can see right there, I've actually put a few threads in there. So now what you got to do is just keep that piece straight and then pull it straight down. And once you have it down, just kind of press down on it, and now you can take that bolt out and your hole is perfectly aligned. So now that we got this front one, we're going to need to get bag 13 because we're going to need these screws, because now we're going to put these back ones on. So I'm going to go ahead, open up bag 13, dump out bag 13A. We're not going to use these washers just yet, but we will. For right now, take you some alcohol, clean these surfaces off, and then go ahead and stick these to both of these. And right there is exactly what they should look like. So now comes the fun part. We get to take these, put them up inside here, and get them to stick with the holes lined up. For this, we're going to go ahead and get the manual out of the way. We're going to grab 2 of our bolts, take one of our brackets, go ahead and peel that double-sided tape off, and it's the exact same process as before. This time, we're going to start with this front hole. We're going to stick it up in there, get that bolt down in there, and get it started. Then we're going to put the one in the back. Then, you just pull up on it. Alright, so right there, I've got that one started, which means we can actually let that go. Now, grab the other one, get it started. That tells me that first one didn't start correctly. There she goes. And now, as you can see, it's still loose. But with putting those bolts in there like that, now what we got to do is grab a hold of this and push it up. Give it some firm pressure, and that's it. So now we get to repeat the exact same process for the other side. Take our backing off, go ahead and drop a screw in there, get our Allen driver in there, kind of line it up, get it started, grab our other bolt, put that bolt in there, get that one started, give me my Allen wrench, and then push it straight up, firm pressure, and that's it. Now, one thing to remember on these brackets, these are nylon lock nuts, so you do not need to use any thread lock on these bolts back here. Alright, so everything on this page is already done. We've already put these two on, we've already put this one on. We have not super glued that nut into that bracket. I don't have any super glue, so we're just going to have to kind of deal with it. But now what we need to do is we need to take our belt, and we need to put our belt on here so that we can actually get it into the boom, because once it goes in the boom, we have to take it back out in order to get it on. Make sure on these belts that you don't kink them. Anything over about that angle, you don't want to kink it any more than that. So we're going to use that kink to our advantage, and we're just going to let that belt sit just like that. So now we just need to slide the tail piece into the tail boom and then put on our 4 screws. Don't forget your little beauty washers. All right, as you can see, I've got the belt going down the tail boom. You can actually see the belt right there. We're going to go outside to outside, slide it up in there until you see those holes right there. I'm going to grab a couple screws with a couple of the beauty washers and go ahead and put them on there, but we're not going to tighten them down. We need to be able to adjust this back and forth to adjust that belt tension. And what I did is I went all the way down and then come back out about a half a turn, and that's going to allow us to sit here and adjust that belt tension. Got my 2 bolts for the other side and do the exact same thing. Just take and tighten that bolt finger tight all the way down, and then back it off about a half turn. And I can feel that plate on the inside starting to let go. But once we tighten these things down, guys, it ain't going to go nowhere. Now, you don't want it all the way back. You want this to be all the way forward. Now what you want to do is look down the tail boom, which I highly doubt you guys can see, and make sure there is no kinks or twists in that belt. Another easy way is if I take my thumb and go forward, just like that, the tail should go in the exact same direction and you shouldn't feel any notchiness. If you happen to have it twisted, you're going to feel a little bit of notchiness, and then if you have it twisted again, you'll actually be able to hear it. So just make sure that it goes nice and smooth. So we're going to go ahead and set that to the side because we get to play with this. And we also get to play with this. Again, this is supposed to have CA. I'm going to have to go get CA, guys. That's all there is to it. Alright, so I got bag 14 here, and what I want is bag 14B, which is this. I could have used this on the head, but I didn't. The reason we can use this, not only will this fit that nut right there so that you can torque that nut down, but you can also use the other end to tighten those. So now I can take my pliers, grab a hold of this shaft, and I can spin it in without hurting my fingers, which is always beneficial. Now, one thing you're going to notice on here is it's going to say 13 millimeters should stick out, and then there should be a 5 millimeter gap, because there's no way that I can measure 474 millimeters with my little micrometer, and that's only an estimate. So we're going to go ahead and keep going on this. Now, once we have the shaft put onto this ball link end, I figured out I'm going to have CA, because I thought this was going to be a friction fit to where it would actually screw in, and it's not. It just slides right in and out. So it's using CA to actually hold this, which kind of worries me a little bit. But I'm going to have to go get CA in order to do this. This thing's not going to fly for a while, so I've got plenty of time to go get some CA to get this finalized. What I am going to do is go ahead and get this one put together as well. And when you're done, it'll look something, well, like that. So yeah, I got to go get some CA in order to put this in. But that is not going to stop us from moving on. We're going to go ahead, flip that page on over. As you can see here, whenever you put it in, your tail servo mount actually helps to hold the bottom of this tail boom up. And then once you put it up in there, then you'll put your bolt through it. Once your bolt's through it, you can put your bracket on there, or you can just use that little piece like right there. I'm going to use the bracket because I like the idea of being able to take that gyro off and not have it hard mounted to that top plate. And then if you look at this diagram here, if you're looking at the back, you're going to take it from being side to side and go a quarter turn counterclockwise. Same thing up front. If it's straight up and down, you're going to go a quarter turn counterclockwise, and that's going to give you the correct direction on your tail, which is counterclockwise when the head is going clockwise. So we got the helicopter sitting here. We got our tail boom right here. I'm just going to triple check and make sure everything is working like it should. Remember, you're going to take it like this if you're looking at it, and you're going to go counterclockwise. If this is rotating clockwise, then this is rotating counterclockwise. So I know it goes in there just like that. I never thought I'd be messing with tails that have belts anymore. I thought it was all torque tube from here on out. And once you have it in here, bring it down, because you've got that little ledge right there. You got to kind of tuck it in there and then push it up in there, and it'll slide right into place. Now I'm just wrapping that belt around that pulley. Again, in bag 14, we're going to grab this nylon nut, which also has this little bitty block that you can use to lock this in place, but we're not going to use that. So what I'm going to do, we're going to get that nut lined up right there. Go ahead and screw that in. That's where this comes in, because now, tighten it down. Try to get it to where the sides of this nut right here are parallel with the frame sides. Once that's on there, we can go ahead and grab bag 9. I know we skipped way back on that one. We can pull out this beautiful piece of black anodized aluminum, and that will sit just like that. And what that's going to do is going to keep that nylon bolt from backing out due to vibrations that every helicopter has. I will be taking this off. I am not going to put thread lock on these bolts. How do you like that? I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so what I've done is I've zoomed in on this page right here, because we are going to be doing this right here. As you can see here, check for proper assembly of the tail boom. Done. We know it's done right. Loosen the tail case by loosening 4 M2.5 screws. That's going to be these 2 screws here and the 2 screws over here on the other side. Install the belt into the front pulley in the correct direction of figure 1, which is, ta-da, see, it even says figure 1. Rotate the tail drive several times by hand. Okay, several times. Pull the tail case back to increase belt tension. All they're saying to do is grab a hold of this and pull it back. Tighten the 4 M.25 screws on the tail case, same ones we just loosened. The belt must be very tight. That worries me a little bit. But hey, we're going to go with what they say. You know, I'm not going to go ridiculously tight, but we are going to go pretty tight. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take and put a little bit of tension on it. Go ahead and spin this around. Actually, I'm going to spin the head just to make sure that belt is sitting in the grooves real good. And now all I'm going to do is pull back, and I'm going to go about halfway on those screws. Hold it with my thumb. I can hear the stuff cracking. That's not a good sound. Go ahead and tighten these screws down. Do the same thing for this side. And there we go. Now, as far as belt tension, it's really hard to explain on video, but yeah, I mean, I'm putting some pretty good pressure on that, and yeah. But as you can see, whenever I spin the head, that's what I never liked about these belt drives. They always had that tension, and they didn't spin very free. Well, there she is. What do you think? I think it looks freaking awesome. I think it's going to look even better in the next video when we go ahead and put the canopy on it and put the blades on it. I know I'm going to take the blades back off whenever I set it up with all the servos. I can't help myself. I got to put blades on this thing. I'm also going to go ahead and put the motor mount in here. I have not shown the motor mount. I'm going to show that whenever I do the electronic install. So guys, I hope that helps you out. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Interaction is interaction, and it all helps us out. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, go ahead and post them in the comments section below. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.